Okay, so this fight may not be actually ruined, but the fight is definitely not as hyped up as what it could have been. Caleb Plant folded. He lost to Resendiz in 12 rounds. He got bullied for the majority of the rounds. He won the early rounds and then probably got swept the last, 8 rounds. So it really didn't look too good for him, but Resendiz came out there, had a good game plan. He kind of fought like Canelo did in the Canelo Plant fight. He had a lot of power. He had Caleb Plant on ice skates, but Caleb Plant ended up recovering, but he just couldn't get the job done. He couldn't get anything going, never got into a rhythm, never felt like himself in the fight. And after the fight, he wanted to say that, he still felt like it could go either way. It was close. Caleb, it wasn't close. Don't say that, buddy. It wasn't close. Stop. Stop it. It wasn't close. I had multiple people watching the fight. It wasn't close. You lost. You got bullied by a guy who was smaller than you. You got bullied, my guy. Go look at the tape. You'll regret every word you said. You'll regret every word you said in the press conference. I feel like Caleb Plant isn't a loose fighter. I think Caleb is just too stiff. I think he's too technical for me. He throws the same combinations in every fight. I don't know why, but he does. And to me, I just feel like ultimately, because he does that and he's not loose, he sticks to the game plan, which is just box how you box. And you're not Terrence Crawford. You're not Canelo. You're not going to go in the ring and box how you want to box and expect everyone to lose. You're not that good. You're good, but you're not great. You need to go in there and see how somebody's fighting and beat them at their own game. You need to go in there in the ring for a round or two, lose the first 2 rounds just by low output, like how Canelo does. But you need to go in there, see how somebody fights, look at your opponent, watch how he fights, and then go in there and beat him at his own game. Take away what he thinks he's got. Not go in the ring and think, oh, they're not going to be able to stop me and what I'm doing. It doesn't work that way. Not for people like you. And what I mean by that is people who aren't upper echelon of fighters, not the top tier fighters. And you're not that. You're a great fighter in the sense of this generation, but you're not great all time. You're just good. You're a good fighter. Stick to that. Put on good shows and do what you do best. Don't go in there acting like you're more than what you are, Caleb. And what you did is you ruined a potential fight that could have been top 5 fight of the year. Now, just like the Haney-Garcia fight, it is now diminished. It's diminished because you lost. Like Garcia lost. You lost. So now the fight's diminished. To me, Caleb gets hit a lot. He keeps his hands down. I don't know why, but he keeps his hands down. And it's honestly funny because he's just like Boots Ennis. They fight the same. They look the same. They fight how they want to fight. They try to be flashy in every fight. They keep their hands down. They get hit a lot when they shouldn't be. Rounds are closer than what they should be. And if it wasn't for their power, half the time, they would have lost. They would have lost. And if it wasn't for Boots Ennis' name, he would lose a lot of his fights because he gets hit too much. And Caleb, you get hit too much. Now let's go to Charlo. First of all, Jermall Charlo is one of my favorite fighters. I just want to point that out. He's one of my favorite fighters. And people like Showbiz are talking about his jab in this fight and how dominant his jab was. Let me just get this straight. His jab was impeccable. His jab was strong. It was powerful. It made LaMonta on ice skates. Let's just say that. But that's not enough to beat Canelo. Because Charlo made the mistake and said, I don't want to fight Plant that much anymore. Obviously, he said in the press conference he wants his lick back. So make a belt because he doesn't have one anymore. He said, make a belt because I want my lick back. So he still wants the Plant fight. He still wants it. But he would rather the Canelo fight. And Charlo, Jermall, you're one of my favorite fighters. Yet again, you're one of my favorite fighters, man. I really like to see you fight. If you would have fought the way you fought against Jose Benavidez Jr. against La Manta, he would have been dead. I'm not kidding. He would have been dead. You fought sluggish in this fight. You looked sluggish, and the only thing that was working for you was your jab. You had power. You looked like an older George Foreman in the ring. That's what you looked like. You relied on your jab and your power punches to win the fight. You had low output. You would pressure him around the ring and do absolutely nothing. And when you hit him, he was on ice skates. And I understand you wanted to get rounds in because it's been 18 months since your last fight. I get that. You know, it's respectable. It's understandable. Specifically because of what you went through outside the ring. And no one knows that more than you. So I understand what you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from. But when you're going out there and you have a pay-per-view that you're fighting on, a fight card that's pay-per-view, you have to go out there and put on a performance. It's not all about you, Jermall. It's not all about you. You need to go out there and perform your best. And you didn't. You looked sluggish, you were out of shape, and you used your power punches and your jabs and relied on that too much against a fighter who isn't even in your same class. He's not on your level. It's not even close. He's like a D-level fighter, and you're like a B plus, A plus, a B plus, A minus type of fighter. Maybe even A. That's the type of fighter you are. And you fought a D plus, D minus fighter? Like, come on, man. He wasn't on your same level. Not in the same class. Way out of your league. And you performed like that. You got the stoppage. You beat him up. But if you fought how you fought Benavidez Jr. in this fight, he'd have been dead. At least on a stretcher. He'd have been taken out in the first 3 rounds. Because Jermall Charlo has some of the best combinations I've ever seen in my life. He puts on performances when he fights. Jermall Charlo is powerful, has an exceptional jab, has some of the best combinations I've ever seen. He can put together combinations like no one else, and he knocks people out and gets the job done. He's the better Charlo brother. He's the one that has a chance to beat Canelo, but you can't beat him like that. You're not going to beat Canelo like that. Too low of output. You relied on power punches too much. You need to go out there how you fought Benavidez Jr. and dominate every fight. Every time you step in the ring. That's how you need to fight. That's what you need to do. Because the other night, you were a bully and out of shape and an older George Foreman against a guy who's a D-level fighter. That is why you won. Not because of your skill. Not because I'm back. You're not back. You're not. Show up next fight and prove that you're back. Because I thought you were back 18 months ago when you fought Benavidez Jr. and you looked like you never left. You're back and you performed worse. You just got the stoppage. You performed worse. You had more power because you were fatter. You put on more weight. You went up in divisions. I get it, man. I get it. But you're not going to beat Canelo that way. When it comes to Charlo versus Plant, in that matchup, I would go towards Charlo. Because, to be honest with you, this fight is a mismatch. It shouldn't happen. For the plain fact that Charlo is just too big for Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant is a smaller guy at the division. And it's weird to me because Charlo went up to 168 and looks fat, and Caleb looks small at 168. Like, he looks like he's shredded, which means he could gain more weight, and he's a bigger guy. But if you looked at Caleb Plant against Resendiz and looked at Jermall Charlo against LaMonta, they looked like they were in completely different weight classes. Not even close. Charlo has more power. He's not as technical. He throws better combinations. His jab is more powerful and more, game-changing. It can change the trajectory of the fight and how it's going for one fighter or another. I feel like Jermall Charlo is a better fighter overall. I think he will get his lick back if they fight. I think he gets the knockout, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. I think he gets the knockout. But because Caleb Plant lost, I don't know if the fight's going to happen. If it happens, it won't be because of outside of just Jermall Charlo and Caleb Plant wanting to run it because they want to settle it in the ring.